On this episode, just communicate. Hey everybody, this is The Quarter Show. We're talking about just communicating, and I will tell you, I was talking to a team here recently this week, and we were watching, what were we watching? We were watching an episode of Bloomberg 1.0, Studio 1.0, and it was talking about, this lady was talking about how we got in a bind and was just calling people, and it brought up a good reminder that I talked to our team about here. And I can tell you one thing, I can tell you that the most successful, and I've studied a lot of books, I've studied a lot of successful people, I've listened to a lot of audiobooks, I've done a lot of business myself. I don't pretend to know everything, but I do know a lot. And I will tell you that all the successful people that I know, that I've seen, that I've read about, that I've interacted with, these successful people find a way to communicate all day. Bell to bell, from morning until night, they communicate, they outflow and they communicate and they get on the phone and they call people and they make things happen. And in whatever that means, whether they're in sales or they're an entrepreneur or they're doing whatever, the point is, if they're not on the phone talking or selling something, then they're doing an interview or a talk show or talking to somebody else or evangelizing their company to other people and talking to their staff and talking to people. It's just like they just outflow and they communicate all day long. And for sales, this is a beautiful thing. The gorgeous thing about success is it's so simple, except most people won't do it. There's a funny little skit with Jerry Seinfeld where he talks about how there's the list of fears. People list out the list of fears, and it says, the top fear is public speaking and number 2 is death. And he says that, that means the person in the audience at a funeral would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy, because people would rather be dead than public speaking. And so there's this funny thing, it's kind of a joke, but it's like when you look at it in sales, the person who has the tenacity and the confront and the ability to just get on the phone and communicate and call people and make things happen and communicate all day long. The keys to the kingdom is for that person. That person will succeed and succeed and succeed. They just will. And the truth is, most people just struggle with this idea of communication. The reason they're not successful, and it's so simple that it becomes sad, is that they don't communicate. They literally don't communicate, certainly not at the right level, right? And it's so damn simple that it's hard to believe. And people ask, and I go on Quora, I go on Quora, answer different questions on Quora and different things like these different sites. I write blogs, I talk to people, and people ask, they're constantly asking, what do you need to do to be successful? And it's like, you need to communicate a lot. Just communicate from bell to bell. If you can find a way in your day to take it from the very beginning of the day and communicate to the very end of the day, having productive conversations and communicate with people and just outflow and just call in any awkward situation, anything that you need to confront, anything. You don't want to call that CEO, pick up the phone. You don't want to call the finance person, the CPA, the attorney, this person, that. Pick up the phone, call them, and make it happen. And over time, what happens? Over time, you get good. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book Outliers, talks about the 10,000 hour rule. Anything that you do for 10,000 hours, you tend to get very, very good at, right? It's the same thing with communication. If you're communicating all day from bell to bell, all day long, after a while, you just get good. You just get very good. You may suck at first, but you get very good. And you start towards the end of the day, you get good. Towards the end of the week, you're very good. Time and time and time again, you put in your 10,000 hours, and next thing you know, you're very good at communication. You can go into any meeting, have any phone call, talk to any person anywhere, and communicate and get the outcome that you want. And most people are just rusty. They don't communicate enough. They don't know what to say, and even if they did get the opportunity, they would muck it up because they just don't communicate enough.
And the interesting thing about that, Rob mentioned just a moment ago that it's very simple. And the thing is, and then he also mentioned if you could find a way to communicate from bell to bell. But the thing is, and I just watched a salesperson under me do this today, and then we tweaked just a very small thing, and since then he's been like on it. like just on the phone. And it's that human beings, we tend to complicate things. We tend to overcomplicate things, and we tend to become, especially in sales, it's very deadly. We become someone else. We become what we think a salesperson should be. We become what that we think the prospect wants to hear. We become this other thing. And so the only way you're going to comfortably communicate all day at any point is if you just knock off being someone else and just be yourself and communicate whatever you believe in your heart. You know, it's like if you don't feel it, then don't go talk to anybody. You gotta have your mission in your mind, and you gotta have just yourself, and don't be something else, because the more you do that, you'll find yourself grind, and you'll stop. So in my experience, the only way to do this is you just have to be you, and
you have to do you.
It's very comfortable to talk to people when you're just like, I'm just being me. Look, I'm a very particular kind of person. Devin on our team, very particular kind of person. We're the two most successful, outside of Rob, most successful salespeople here. And we're just like, Devin is a wild man, and he talks a very certain way that I don't, but it's totally natural to him.
Yeah.
You know, so don't mimic somebody, don't be something else. Be yourself.
Such a valid point. Such a valid point. Yeah. And you see people and they go into the sort of personality almost of somebody else because they lack confidence. They lack confidence or whatever the reason, or they think that's sort of a winning personality or something like that, and they start acting like this person or that person or this thing or how a salesperson might be. And that is so true. What Ben is saying is so true. Just be yourself. Do you. Make sure, just be authentic, be yourself, and then just communicate. And just communicate all day. You know, it's so easy, by the way. Like when you look at something like public speaking, it's so easy to do public speaking if you know what you're talking about. If you know, like if somebody asked me to public speak about Richter, that would be the easiest thing in the world, because I would just communicate about what I already know, and I would just communicate me. I would just do me. I would just communicate and be myself. And for that, that's the easiest thing in the world. The hardest thing in the world is to try and talk about something I have no idea what I'm talking about, and to try and do it as someone else, try and be someone else doing so, right? That's very difficult. You know, the easiest route you can take is be yourself, right? Communicate authentically and do you, and do something that you unequivocally know about, and then do it over and over and over and over with every person that would listen. If you're not on a sales phone call, if you're not in a sales meeting, then get a video, do an interview, do this, talk to other people, whatever. Communicate, write a blog, put something else out there, keep communicating, keep putting that out there. And that's that's actually the formula to success. That's actually how you get it. The truth is most people don't want to do the work. They don't, even if they do the work, it's at a fraction of the level, right? They're like, well, I made really in reality, they made 3 phone calls, or they made 5 phone calls, or they connected with a couple people, but like nowhere near the magnitude that you actually need to take it in order to accomplish success. And then they make excuses and they come up with different things, like if they really don't want to talk to someone, or they don't want to really call somebody, or they don't want to push through or muscle through on this deal, or they get some level of rejection, heaven forbid. It's like then the whole thing crumbles. They might be off to a good start, get some rejection, now they're done. And that's not what it takes. What it takes is massive levels of communication, and you just keep doing it.
Yeah, like, this fellow who I just mentioned, who, like, we just tweaked a little bit, and I just helped him, like, hey, you got to be genuine, and you got to be you, and you got to communicate from that viewpoint. Like the previous 4 days, he'd sent out hundreds of emails, made about 50 calls a day, which was not bad, and done different things, but it was all from this like otherness that wasn't him. And it and nothing was happening. Now he's on the phone, and I think he's reached like half a dozen people in the past couple hours, just because he's just like he's okay with talking to people. Mm-hmm. When you're not okay with talking to people, you got to be someone else, and so you communicate from this other spot that's not you, and you'll feel yourself mentally grind and sort of blank out and go out of existence. So it's like you just have to be you and do lots of that, and bring yourself to the table, because and we've talked about this in the show, and you brought this up. People purchase in a big portion because they feel confident in the person talking to them.
No question.
So you've got to communicate a ton with just yourself.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that helps. We'll have more coming at you very soon here, and thanks for watching. We saw the subscribers go up. That's great. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at thequarter show right there, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if you like it, and also hit that thumbs up, like button as well. Okay? Thumbs down if you don't like it.
Hey.
I guess.
Hey.
Whatever you do, just communicate.
Yeah. There we go. I guess it's okay.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.